TV over there. All right, we'll open up. Questions?
Well, that's a good win for us. I appreciate all the fans that came out tonight to support us. We're definitely a different-looking team. Could definitely feel a good vibe. Eastern Washington's going to have a great year. Those guys are good. The number of games watching them last year, they're just so different than they play a different brand of basketball. And all those guys have good size, and they can all shoot. And you especially saw it in the second half where they got some threes and made some deep ones. But they post their guards a lot, and their bigs are out on the perimeter a ton. So it gets you in some funky spots, and bigs aren't used to always defending that way. So they're doing something that they're not used to, and guards aren't used to having to defend in the post over and over and over and over again. And so it puts them in a position that, so we've been preparing for this for quite some, last, 5 practices we've had since right before our exhibition game. I thought we did a great job defending them, specifically that first half. I mean, to hold them to 20 points, they can get it going. Obviously, everybody's a different team. We're different than a year ago. They're different. But those guys won a regular season championship. They got some guys that have a lot of pride. And I'm a believer in that stuff. That stuff matters. They're very well coached in what they do. They made us better. It was easy to feel the last 3 days of practice since Westminster and really prepping on these guys. They made us better. And that's the whole point of these non-conference games. You got to win them. You got to win, right? But we're challenging ourselves here now. Like, we're playing some teams that are good. And so you got to, the whole point is to get better. And I thought getting ready for these guys we did. Raleigh, I just thought was really, really good. I mean, all the way around. His numbers at halftime, what did he have, 15 points? I can't remember. I think he had 5 steals at the half and 4 assists. He had 8 assists, 0 turnovers tonight. And then the other thing, he guarded number 0. That dude can get it going. He's a good player. D3 transfer that played there. D3, then he played there last year. And now, again, he's very, very long. He's such a good post player. You don't even just why. He's so good and long and tough and athletic. And Riley just made it hard on him. He got the 3 early in the second half, but he had 9 points on 13 attempts. And then number 13, I thought Cole Bajema was our primary defender on him. And it's always a team game when you're guarding, but I do want to mention Cole because, Jake Kyman, he started his career at UCLA. He's got good size at 6'7" and a super quick release. And I thought we did a good job just limiting his attempts. He gets 2 points on 3 shot attempts because he can get it going. I've seen it firsthand, what that guy can do. So I just thought, though, as a team, we just really made things hard on them defensively. And then offensively, great start to the game, 8-0 run out of the gate. Bajema hits one on a snap pass by, I think, Raleigh. Boom, makes a 3. Gabe hits one on a 1 more, and then it gets the dunk. And everyone's going, and then I think we scored 4 points the next 8 minutes or whatever it was. So we're a work in progress, but 18 assists. We got to cut down our turnovers. Just some senseless ones, I thought. But just a lot of good contributions and very, very efficient. 1.28 points a possession, which is a high-level number. So, Bajema, right, 9 shot attempts, 17 points. Gabe got it going, especially in that second half, 20 points on 12 shot attempts, and just thought we really were unselfish all the way up and down the lineup. So, good win for the Utes.
Coach, 35
Who's running this thing, John? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
35-point win. There's a lot going right, but is there one thing in particular that stands out the most to you in terms of something positive?
I just thought the way we guarded them. I just did. When you hold a team, a Division I team to 20 points at the half, 44-20 at the half, I thought we made we really separated, I think, the last 4.5 to 5 minutes. Right? We came into the locker room with some serious mojo. And I thought our defense created some easy opportunities, for our offense. And then the way we started the second half, right? They scored a couple times, but we got out and jumped some passing lanes and created some turnovers. Gabe gets the steal and the dunk, pretty early. We had a couple easy, just creating turnovers and shrinking, and just thought we had a mentality out there on the defensive end. And then just the way we share the ball, we made a lot of the right plays. Keita in some ways it wasn't his best. Gets his first career double-double. Thought he really settled in. That's late in the game and got some easy ones. But I just thought the way we guarded. It's fun when you get 101 points, right? I think that's the first time in 4 or 5 years since that's happened. So it's always a fun thing for the crowd. Doc stepped into that 3, so that was fun to see. But I just thought we played with an edge defensively.
Greg, you hit that 4-minute kind of lull for a bit.
Yeah.
What changed, or did anything change? You just kind of settle in, or was there anything else?
Well, I think it was a few different things, but I think the number one thing, it was just the first game. So, Cole gets a rhythm 3, Gabe hits the one in the corner, Gabe gets the dunk, all of this, and we were getting stops, and we're just running. We want to be the Runnin Utes. So we're pushing the pace, right? And I thought we got it going, but we just, little quick at times, missed a couple of chippies. We're flying in the offensive boards. We got 2 guys fighting for it, and that happened on the defensive side a couple times too. Instead of just, I got it, right? But it's like we fight and it falls right into the lap. But thought we had some clean shots. That was the other thing. We had a lot of clean looks. We just missed some of them. That stretch we had. I think Ben missed 2. I think Gabe missed a couple. We had some clean looks that just didn't go in, and sometimes that happened. But I just thought in transition we just got a little. We were so excited to play. You know what I mean? And you just kind of get that out of your system, and then I thought we really settled in.
Speaking to that Runnin Utes point, when you first got here, that was kind of what you wanted to push.
Yeah.
Seems like the last 2 years it was kind of hard to kind of push to that. Do you feel like you're to that level now where you can be the Runnin Utes?
100%. We have way more weapons. We have more depth, right, in our front court and in our back court. We just have more depth. We're more athletic. We have more speed. Our bigs can really run. And then we can shoot it. I didn't think we shot it great today. We're still 11 for 25. We're not going to make them all, but we had some really clean ones. And but we can. Like I tell our guys, though, if you're going to run, you got to be able to run from defense to offense, and you got to be able to run from offense to defense. It's not just going to be a one-way train on that deal. But, our teams, this is year 13 for me as a head coach, but our last spot, our first 2 games, we scored over 100. We've always been known to be good offensive teams. The last 2 years, thought we were solid last year until the injuries. And then we had to kind of slow it down and grind it out. But certainly we've improved our depth and our shooting.
What do Keita and Ben provide specifically off the bench for you guys?
We have a good front line. Front line's good. Ben, I've said this on the record a few different times now, but Ben arguably had the best summer of anybody in our program. You can argue that. He looks like a whole different player out there. Ben's a good player. And so he's just so much more comfortable in our system. He knows what to expect. Game is really slowed down. He's worked really hard. He's worked really hard at his game. And he's a pillar for us, no doubt about it. And then Keita, we don't have anybody like him in that his athleticism, his strength, we have shot blocking, but he just brings a different element to us. You forget because he got to play a decent amount of minutes last year. He's still only, game 1 of a sophomore year. Still a young dude, right? With still trying to figure out, this whole thing, but super excited about both those guys.
Going back to Raleigh for a second,
Yeah.
there was a point when you had that 18-2 run in the first half where I think he had a hand in 8 straight points. What did he bring just energy-wise for this team on both ends of the floor?
Raleigh's made a big jump as well. Game slowed down for him. He just, what was it, guys? You guys know, what did he have? Two or 3 games last year where he was one rebound short of a triple-double? He just does he's a competitor, right? That guy's a competitor. And he wants the challenge of guarding other teams' good players. He's got a nose for the ball. He just has a nose for the ball. Great instincts. And now that we have more shooting around him, so there's a little bit more space on the floor, to operate and make some plays. They were trying to take away BC. He walked to the rim 4 different times in that first half, and a lot of that is because they were worried about BC, on picks and pops. So it's hard to help too much and. So, but he just impacts winning. That play he had late in the first half where he tips the ball and he comes flying in there, and then BC ends up with it, and I think that's when BC got fouled, like on that alley-oop that I think Hunter was throwing to him. But I mean, that was an unbelievable play. He's just so tough physically, so tough mentally, and super instinctive.
How do you feel the big lineup went for you this year? Or this game, sorry.
I think it's really good. I mean, those guys we can keep throwing waves at people. Like, I mean, you can kind of wear teams down. You know, I mean, obviously they chose to go big. They don't usually start number 10 and number 32 together, but they were trying to match up with us, right? And for us to be able to draw 4 fouls on those guys, at a decent time in the first half, I just think we wore them down so much that way. But I loved it. I mean, they weren't our leading scorers, but they set the tone. They didn't get much in the paint, and for them to be able to guard the way they did, that's hard to do when you're not used to doing that. And I thought they did an outstanding job. Like, those bigs didn't have many clean looks from the 3, and they thrive off of that.
It seemed like when you guys hit a 3, you hit them in flurries. Like, what does that do for your team, for your guys, when they see the ball going from deep?
Well, it ignites the crowd, and every fan base loves made threes, but I've learned Utah fans really love made threes, and that's a compliment. But it gets the crowd into the game. And, of course, it gets our players love made threes, right? Our bench loves made threes. It gets everybody. The coaches love made threes. And so it does. It's a bit of a momentum. Like, dunks are momentum plays, right? Offensive rebound putbacks are momentum plays. Threes are momentum plays. And we do seem to have a little more spurtability than we've had, certainly in our first 2 years.
So, 35-point margin tonight. Branden doesn't have a great game from a scoring perspective. It seemed like in your past, you guys were super reliant on his production to be good offensively.
Yeah.
What does that say about
Man, that's a great point. One of our coaches, actually our strength coach, Logan Ogden from Iowa, actually said it. Our first 2 years, I thought Branden had a really good game tonight. Like, we're moving around at the 4, at the 5. He's guarding this guy. He's guarding this guy. We couldn't do that with him a year ago. He's gotten that much better defensively and just understanding things. And then when we were posting him, first of all, he drew fouls. He drew a lot of fouls tonight, right? And so and then they were really shrinking the floor and bringing a double almost every time, right? So in Branden, instead of just forcing the issue, he's just catching it. He's baiting them. He's bringing the double, and we're skipping opposite. And we're getting wide open looks. And maybe he doesn't get the assist because they're rotating out, and now we go one more, and then we have a wide open 3. So if we had a hockey assist tonight, he would have had a lot of them. But I think it just says a lot about this team. Now, we have a lot of growth to go, but this team seems to be a very connected team. It's still very early, but it's a team that's willing to make the right play for one another, and that's really, really exciting.
You hit 4, 7. Okay, solid.
You good? Right, we'll open it up for questions from the players.
Cole, you open up with a 3 to start the game. How'd that feel?
It felt good. Raleigh made a nice play, I think, coming off the screen, and they head over helped a little bit, and I just saw a little bit of space and shot it. So,
for you guys, how important is it just to see those first 2 shots fall? Does that set the tone, or is it different? What's it like to have that?
Yeah, it's always nice, obviously, to see the ball go in, but I think we're both pretty good shooters, so you're gonna always keep shooting. So
regardless of make or miss on the first shot, we both have the mentality just keep shooting it. But wouldn't lie to you, it does feel good, obviously, at the first shot, just to kind of get confidence rolling, especially the first game of the season.
Did you guys have like a little friendly competition, a little wager?
Actually,
we might have to get one going, though.
There's a lot of competition in practice, but no, it's good.
You guys go through a little bit of lull after that opening series. What changed to kind of kick you guys out of that, or is it just kind of first game jitters, not jitters, but just kind of first game stuff?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of first game stuff, but obviously we gotta just try to keep it going and not let that lull happen. Obviously, yeah.
Gabe, I'd be curious to hear just what you feel Cole brings to the floor, just how different it is out there with him compared to last year's.
When Cole came on his visit, I remember we had a conversation about how how awesome it would be to play together, just because it opens up that space. And I remember him saying like he hadn't played with another like shooter like that, so it's been awesome. I mean, it creates so much more space and just so many more opportunities, obviously, for the whole team. So yeah.
You guys get 101 points, but Craig pointed to your guys' defensive effort. I mean, what was that kind of what you guys were trying to do, is sell out on the defense and just kind of use that to kind of propel you?
Yeah, I mean, we always try to hold our hat on defense, being a strong defensive team, and depending on what team we play, making different adjustments and whatnots. But what Gabe said, we can't have those lulls where we have stretches where we let them get off a little bit. But no, we got some work to do, but heading in the right direction though.
What kind of effort does Branden bring? I know on stat sheet he probably didn't put a lot on the offensively, but what has he done to the game, especially with he and Lawson in there together?
I think just the experience on his team overall, but then obviously BC been here 5 years, just knows what the deal is, and just gives a lot of confidence for everybody. Just having somebody who's played a lot of games here as a youth. So yeah.
What did you guys think of the game for Raleigh tonight? He has 15 first half points, finishes with career high 6 steals.
I mean, Raleigh was great. I mean, I could tell right from the start how aggressive he was. I don't know how many assists he had, but what was it?
Yeah,
8 assists, but he was just as aggressive too, getting to the hoop and made some really good finishes. And Raleigh was great tonight. I mean, that's what we expect out of him. That's what he can do. So.